Hello,
Hello, hello, happy Friday.
happy Friday. Is it a new thing that you need to be
Oh,
admitted to meetings? I seem to have seen this for the first time today.
yep, same for me. First time I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
Have you
hey
been?
guys, this is Yogesh. Yeah, I decided to be particularly mean to all of you and make you wait in the lobby so I can show my superpowers over you. I don't know what's
Oh,
I don't know what's happening. This is a new Zoom hosting thing. What happened was OCP changed the uh, you know who can host the meeting. They created new IDs and stuff, and I've been made a co-host, and this is something that I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of. So till then, you just have to
uh,
wait for
I mean,
someone to let you in.
I mean, it's gonna help with what I get every once in a while for the debug meeting is get these. Oh, here's a recording of your meeting on like a random day or like 4 hours before the meeting started, because somebody apparently dialed into the bridge.
Oh, that's nice.
So, so what's good that's coming out of it is that hopefully in near future. Okay, so right now what happens is the recording happens, and then I have to go download it from Zoom, and then copy it, upload it to you know Google Drive. That's all
Mhm.
manual. I've been asking for it to be automated for
Yeah.
years now, but finally that's looks like that's going to happen. So that would be a good news, and it'll automatically be posted to YouTube, and the link will be added to the wiki, which was supposed to be like Anil. That's how it was in the beginning, right? And now then they broke it. So when they changed from GoToMeetings to Zoom, right?
Sorry, what is the question? Is it for me?
So when you had started this project and GoToMeetings was what OCP was using, the system was that the recording was automatically posted to YouTube and the link was added to Wiki, right? That's how it used to work, right?
Yeah, there was some backend
Yeah.
infrastructure there. Yeah.
So when they switched to Zoom, it broke, and now they're saying they fixed it. It's going to be rolled out soon.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, but hey guys, good strength today. So since we have Anil, let me just make a public service announcement. Um, Anil started this project along with Rama. He was at Intel at the time. Rama and Zhang Yu, and who else was with you, Anil? I think that's three of you, right?
Yeah.
Zhang Yu was at Meta,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I joined later that year. But when Anil switched to Meta, I took leadership position from Anil, and I think looking back, that was 2020. Looking back in 5 years, collectively we all have done really well. This project was, at the time it has its struggles, and it was basically OCP leadership was like, if you guys don't deliver, then we'll have to think about sustaining you. But we did very well, and all of you, everyone contributed. But I think it's time for a little change, and I'm going to request Anil to take back the leadership position. Anil, I wanted to talk to you in person. I know this came as a surprise, but I know how close this project is to your heart, and you've always uh, done everything to make it successful. So I want to step down at this point and have you become the co-lead again. Rama is not here today, but I think he'll continue to be the co-lead with you. Is if that's okay with you, Anil. I'm sorry I'm blindsiding you, siding you with this announcement like that.
Oh boy. Let me think about it. Uh, I know Drew is. I don't know. Drew, what are you thinking? Because you've been doing a lot over here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume you and I be co-leaders if we do it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tricky, right? Because even in RAS API, I think Carlos and Drew are working very closely. Drew has the official title. Here, Drew is really the biggest driving force, and he'll continue to do so. But Drew and Rama can figure out who holds the official title, but I don't know if that really matters that much. But for me, I want to give this back to you, Anil. That's kind of symbolically important to me.
Yeah, I mean, so let me share with you, right? When we started this, right? One of the criteria that we put as a success criteria is to bring more people into this initiative and let other people drive and lead rather than Facebook do it or at that time, right? And so that was our sort of success criteria within Meta, within Facebook. And I think from that point of view, we are successful by having so many of you right now driving it, right? Because our success actually really when everybody works and
to your credit, Anil, that also did not happen. In the background, you have reached out to so many folks because of your relationships at the time. You brought them, Drew brought a lot of people here. So yeah, definitely you have done a lot to make this project successful.
Yeah. So I think I would say that now we have so many more new people and actively participating. We should open it up. Let's take a vote, right? Anyone wants to volunteer to take a leadership role, we should give that opportunity. What do you think? I'm thinking loudly here.
I think Anil, that's very noble of you, but I think you can do that if you guys want to do that, but we have not done that. And in past also, how we have transitioned. I mean, I don't know. Let others speak. I already expressed my opinion that I think you should take it back, and because you have the most experience, you are with Meta for a long time now, and everyone knows how much Meta is invested. So from industry perspective and from leadership perspective, I think right now you are the best person to drive it with Drew. But if you have personal reasons to not do it, you can think about holding, whatever you need to do to make change. That's my personal opinion, though. I'll let others speak. Hey, Rama, you joined a little late. So
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was
just
from other meeting, where we had. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay, Rama. I was just acknowledging that you and Anil started this project, and I got the leadership from Anil, but I was just making an announcement that it's time for me to step back and Anil to take it back as a leader, drive it in new directions, or continue to be a lead for steer this effort. So that's what you missed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. Anil is here?
Yeah, okay. I'm here. So yeah. I mean, thank you, Yogesh. I think let's think about it more. And my only request is everyone on this call, and also those who are not on the call but very active participant. Let's all of us think about it. And if anyone has an interest, if there are more than one person, then good for us. Let's find the right leadership to continue this effort.
That's what I thought I did.
No, you did. You did.
Yogesh, yeah. First of all, sorry, I missed first 10 minutes. First, I don't know. I changed. Maybe I'll sync with you offline, but amount of effort you put in, big, I think we should celebrate.
Yeah.
We want to see whether you can continue first, and but how much effort you put in.
I think I part of what I had said was I'm really proud of what we did.
Yeah.
With both hardware fault management and RAS API, because both of the projects were on the verge of becoming sort of obsolete. But I took the challenge, and you all supported. It was your effort, not mine, but we all worked collectively, and both the projects have impressive presence in the industry now. So I'm very proud of that, no doubt. But I want to focus on other things, and I feel that since I took the position from Anil, there's no one else who is more experienced than Anil in all sides of this industry, right? He has been on the vendor side, he's on the CSP side, so I feel like he's the rightful honor to have the leadership along with you and Drew, and and then it's up to you guys what you want to do with it, right?
Yeah, I know that's good. Thanks, Yogesh. Let's think through it. We don't have to make a decision today, right? This is a serious transition, and let's take it seriously. And also let's then whosoever take the leadership, we should decide, what is the next milestone or next series of milestone that we need to work on. So give me a chance to review internally as well, because you know how Meta is moving right now very aggressively. So I want to make sure that my management also is clear about the responsibilities, and then make the call. In the meantime, if anyone else is interested and has some ideas, please share.
Yeah, I mean, I think Drew is naturally the leader. He is the lead. But the only reason I did not mention his name as a replacement for me is because we don't want to have both the leads from Microsoft. That was the only consideration I had. Otherwise, Drew is there, and it's no secret. He is the driving force behind this
biggest contributor to OCP work streams. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's chat and see, like Anil said. But Yogesh, you want to take some.
Yeah, I want to take a break and let you guys decide and do what. In the meantime, Anil, is it okay for you to I'll inform the leadership you are after you. Let's talk offline, okay? And then we'll
as a nomination is okay, but let's
okay, sure.
Give some time to me, right?
Yeah. No, of course. I want to talk to you up front. Things have changed rather quickly for me, so I do not. And to be honest, this has been the back of my head for almost a year now, that it's time for change. Especially after last Global Summit, after we released the 1.5 version, I think we all should give others opportunity. That's kind of what I was trying to do in other projects also. The idea of not to hang on to a position, but to actually bring in new folks and give them opportunity, right? You brought me in, and I'm forever thankful for that, Anil. I hope I lived up to your expectations. And now it's time for a transition.
Yeah, let's find some new thoughts. I mean, I'm always here, right? Drew, myself, Rama, we are all so passionate that it doesn't matter. We'll work on it. This is a kind of dream, right?
Yeah, and it goes for me also. I mean, I'm not going to just kind of detach from all of you. We have been friends for so many years now. We have been fighting over us for so many years. So we, I'll be involved in some capacity also. But I think,
let's chat, Yogesh, offline also. Yeah. And first of all, I know how much time you put effort, right? like I don't know, from last 3 years, 4 years, right? I got pulled into this
2020 is when I took over, Rama. So it's
Huh?
6 years now.
6 years. Okay, wow, time flies.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
yeah.
I know sometimes I got pulled into the CLA work streams. Bhushan role, he gave it to me, coordinate non-RAS things and all. Okay, sometimes I could not join these calls, and Drew was like so
No,
much
I think
effort he put in. Yeah,
initially, I know it. You were
yeah,
pulled away, but Drew
yes,
was there. Drew was
yeah. Drew
there
was
to
there. Yes, yeah,
help me drive. In fact, if it wasn't for Drew, we wouldn't be in the shape
yeah.
we are today.
Yeah, that's what I was about to tell Nest. Yeah, how much effort he puts, not only like year out, like within the Microsoft advocating for this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
From Google, he was from Google at the time, and
yeah.
yeah.
Thanks.
So no, I think Drew, I'm sorry I blindsided everyone, including you. But I thought we should have open discussion about it, like everything else about this too.
So I'm a little
Hey.
distracted. Thank you. I'm trying to get me to end. So somehow she got ejected.
Actually, I just now I'm joined, but I joined from a different Zoom account because I think somehow my Zoom ID has gotten like blacklisted in this meeting. I don't know why.
Wasn't me.
I do not know what's happening. There was also a Firefly thing which I kicked out. That was not yours, right? The note taker thing.
No,
I didn't
no.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
guys. I think I must have held you up as well, but I've just joined with a personal account for now.
Anybody add these issues? Like Meta, like
No, I mean there's this new thing that you have to get admitted somehow. We discussed about that before you joined.
I'm
Oh, okay.
trying to turn that off. I think I might have, but
Yeah, I quote unquote had that behavior. I don't even want to call it a problem this morning.
Yeah,
But I
I
came
tried
in
to
basically.
I tried to turn it off once before, Drew, but I think you'll have to work with IT. Yeah, another good news is like whoever takes the role now won't have to copy paste recordings manually to Google Drive very soon, hopefully. So that's a good one. Okay, with that, do we have any other thoughts? We've been talking quite a bit. Any other thoughts? Any opens? Please speak up.
Yeah, you guys, I got a minor open. So I did a bunch of work. There's essentially a Git repo for fault management. That's apparently where documentation is to go, and I kind of grabbed hold of it to have a place to put the system debug spec. And I thought I'd spend like 2 minutes to at least show what is there now. And according to Russ, in the future, that's how we're supposed to publish our specs. So just we
Yeah,
can
you
do
want
it
to
today. I
you
can do
want
it next week.
you
Yeah,
want to share something now? You want to share something?
yeah, I
Okay.
can share it real quick. I mean, this is literally gonna probably take
Yeah,
2 minutes.
hold that thought for a minute or so. Let's
Yeah,
see.
whenever you're ready.
Anyone else wants to add to the conversation about changing leadership and or anything else? Please speak up.
We are going to continue to talk about error injection, right? After that.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Okay, so since no one wants to say anything, Marco, why don't you quickly share where you're going to create the spec, and then we'll.
I have just one quick open, Yogesh, if
Sure,
you don't
and
mind.
go ahead. Yeah, please.
So just a kind of announcement. There are two upcoming events. One is the JDEC forum in May, and there's a PCI SIG developers forum. I think there is a RAS discussion goes on both places. So anyone interested, just let me know. And if you already have the link, great. If not, then think about joining those two events. In the JEDEC forum, I will be talking. In the PCI SIG, I don't have anything to talk about, but it's
When are the
interesting.
dates, Anil? When are the dates?
The PCI SIG is May 6th and 7th.
Oh,
And JEDEC event is May 12th and 13th. If anyone is interested, let me know, or ping me offline, I can send it.
And I know where are those? Sorry, I missed.
Yeah, PCI Developer Conference is in Santa Clara Convention Center. And JEDEC forum is in, I think, Micron, Eastern Bay Area, San Jose.
Got you.
Anil, in addition to this event, there's going to be an OCP EMEA Regional Summit. We would have there Joshua Mora, who has attended a few sessions. He's going to be talking about the resiliency and scale in the infrastructure, also in the context of the hardware failures. So he's presenting. It's 29th, 30th of April in Barcelona.
Oh, this is the OCP Regional Summit?
Correct, EMEA.
Ah, nice. Cool. Thank you.
All right.
Anyone going to regional summit? I know from Oracle, I saw one presentation. Anil, generally you go, right? Are you going?
I submitted 2 proposals, both got rejected. Actually, 3 of them. So no, I'm not going.
Yeah, Microsoft has a travel limits.
Yeah, and that might be another issue. So I'm glad that I didn't get accepted.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay, we can start. Mark, go ahead.
Marco, yeah, please quickly share and then switch to,
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I also posted the link in the chat. Ooh, come on, share. Behave, dumb teams. Okay, so really quickly, according to the direction that I got from Russ von Erlich, that we are supposed to write all our specs on Markdown, backed up by Git repos. There was a Git repo for hardware fault management, probably created like some 2 years ago. It was completely empty. So I figured instead of making one for system debug, I'll just kind of hijack that because that felt right. So quickly, the way it's organized, there is a specs directory where I created a subdirectory for every sub-project I'm aware of. Then there's also this example spec where you can kind of steal a template from. Inside those, I'm just going to grab mine. The way it's meant to be in the source directory is where you put any of the Markdown files. And then figures and tables are meant to go into these extra directories. What else to say is render documents. Once we have like a released version, they go into this public docs directory where they can get linked to. And of course, today that's basically empty. The only thing that's in there is this README. Otherwise, Git wouldn't have propagated that. That's about it. How to use the repos in the README here. There is some extra work to be done if you actually need the tooling to build documents. Feel free to come and annoy me. I point you towards it's also essentially outlined in here. But I'm assuming since probably none of you is currently like waiting to do something here, we're going to spend a lot of time trying to explain details that any reasonable person will have forgotten about unless they start working on it in 2 minutes. Any questions?
The goal is to publish upload the previous specs also here.
You have to negotiate that with Russ, I guess. I mean, I don't know if there's a requirement to convert the previous documents into ProMark and then re-render them, or into Markdown, sorry.
Well,
ProMark is the Intel version of that. Well, probably, yeah, I don't,
what documents
I
are
don't,
you talking about, Rama? Are you talking about like the hardware requirements spec?
Yeah, whatever we published from like
Yeah, so those are different. Those are contributions, and they are on the contributions portal.
yes.
So I think like if it's a contribution that we've gone through the process with the steering committee and our parent project, then it has to be on the contributions portal, and that's not changing. And then this is more things that fit better in a Git repo. So I mean we can have some specs here, but like Marco, if you publish a major debug spec of some sort, then that should probably be a contribution and go through the contributions review process.
Yeah,
yeah, probably
definitely.
should go through that as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to use the right process for the right thing, right?
Oh, no. What I meant was, yeah, we should always use the contribution portal, like because to show all the contributions, like somebody want to quickly get it, like should we upload it here? I'm just asking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the strength of having it here, right, is that we can have if people file issues against it. We do that a lot for the system GPU workstream. There's like, and as if you really have multiple people actually holding pens on the document, you can kind of follow a merge process that then has some, at least very visible tracking and some level of approval cycles. I think John Leong does this pretty passionately in his what is it, the profiles working group. Full name escapes me right now.
So how do they decide what becomes a contribution and what fits in the portal? I mean, they don't really duplicate the documents both places, do they?
I see the way I understood it is that you're supposed to write the document here, and post it from here, and then it gets linked into the portal. But I mean, that is probably a conversation to have with us, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not the typical process. The typical process is you write a Google Doc or a Word doc. Preferably a Google. I think OCP is Google Doc centered, and so you write that and then submit that. So I don't know that we want to get in the habit of writing Markdown because it's a little bit less capable than Word or Google Docs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something to get used to, and once you get used to, you somehow start loving it. That's why.
Well, I use both. I use both extensively, but I'm just saying I don't want to write some of the specs in it.
Yeah, I think Google Doc is just easier, right? Because just for one line, you don't have to go and do all this markdown.
Yeah, or you can put a picture wherever you want, and have an editable picture embedded in the doc.
Yeah, and it just hampers the quick updates to the documents. One small change can take longer, right? So
anyway, Schubert, I'm not necessarily. But by the way, nice to hear your voice again. Like welcome I'm not back. Necessarily, yeah, welcome back, right? I'm not necessarily here to defend it. I'm just thought I'll show quickly what I've done. So if somebody wants to use it, you understand that it's there, how it's organized, and maybe know somebody who you can bug if it doesn't do what you want it to do.
Okay, and I think like where we have like a really like a coding spec or something that's a little low level detail, and we need that kind of revision control. We'll just have to think about it. There are certainly uses for Markdown, and I'm not against it. I just like we have a kind of a cadence right now of using Google Docs, and Google Docs is nice because I can label it and see revisions. Of even drawings and stuff, and the drawings are editable. So I don't know. Let's work through it and see. But we'll just have to try things out and see what works.
Exactly, and as I said, I'm not definitely not here to try to defend it. So I'm just saying, I set it up, and if you need it, it's there.
And I think it's going to be useful. I think there's some things that we will want to put into it. So in that regard, yeah, I think it's great that you did this.
All right. I'll stop sharing because I think we talked enough about it.
Hey, Marco, I
What
have a
is the
question.
conclusion? What is the conclusion? Like, we are not changing current hardware fault management to this model continue in Google Doc, and system debug will stay here.
No, I think we are not changing anything. Marco was working on a debug spec, and he wanted to adopt that. And this has been around for a while. They offered this to us also, but we did not want to go this route for the reasons everyone just mentioned. It's just the natural system for writing is already in place, and we are using it. Marco is using it for whatever spec he is working on, and he created some placeholders for other projects also. That's where it is. That's all. We are not switching
Exactly.
anything. Yeah.
So if Kwas comes down on you and tells you have to do things in Markdown, the repo is ready for you.
No, thank you.
If you never use it, then no hair off my back. Just the system debug group has basically agreed to do things in Markdown, and that's what we're doing.
And that sounds great. And I think if we have code that we want to release or something that, that lends itself to GitHub better, that's awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, like one of the specs I'm providing right now have a lot of like JSON schemas in them, right? That's basically things that borderline behaves like code.
Yeah, no, Marco, no doubt it has its place and use, but thank you for creating the placeholders for other projects also. Nice of you to do that.
Yeah.
But please do not publicize the other projects while they are empty. We're not adopting. Just let them be there.
Okay.
But right now we don't make a change. Okay, thank you.
I short I share that it's there now, and I'm not here to promote any. I have other things that keep me up at night than promoting Promark.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're 35 minutes into it. Let's switch to your tracker. I think we are at error injection, so let's just switch to that. Hey, Shubhada, should we introduce you again? Oh, you're from NVIDIA now. Oh, that's a big change.
That was a good break for me, but great to be back.
Who let her in?
Quickly joined, Shubhada. Good.
Well, I spent all my vacation in being in bed. I felt so badly sick that I spent 5 days in bed, just really bad. But I'm
So
back.
you came here to get energized, huh?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I'm thrilled that you're back, and I'm really excited to see you representing NVIDIA here. That'll be wonderful.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
Great to
I mean,
have
it's
you
all the same
with
stuff, yeah.
as part of Team Green now too.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing the error injection doc. I thought, if it's okay, we'll jump in. I don't know if there are any other introductions. So what I did is I took the definitions that Vilas wrote, and I didn't change a single word, at least intentionally, but I copied them up to the beginning of the doc and I got rid of the old definitions that I had written long ago and said key definitions, and then I just formatted them to look like definitions. So we can tweak it and tune it and clean it up, but I think we've pretty much agreed to this.
Yeah, that's good. Drew, just a side note, I think at one place I had also written those definitions. So since we all reviewed this one heavily and agreed on this, you can delete that wherever that is.
Okay, I'll look it up. I see. Yeah. Like when I started this doc originally, I had something, but then we pretty much ignored it while we worked on this, and that's great because I feel like what Vilas wrote is better. But I'll look for this and delete it too.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last week I showed you that I'd redrawn this drawing, and I don't know which drawing we want to use, and then I took Anil's drawing and redrew it also. And the reason I redrew both of them is so that we could double click on them and edit them in Google Docs. So
Yeah.
and
Anil's
then,
drawing was sorry, I'm being interrupted here. But Anil's drawing, I don't know what Anil you used. It was so pretty, but this one is workable, and we can edit it for sure.
yeah, I just want to be able to edit it. That's all. Yeah.
What did you use, Anil, to draw that? It was very
I
nice.
think it's a web application. It's open source, I believe, or maybe publicly available. It's called Xcali Draw. EX.
Okay.
CALI. Xcali Draw.
Thanks. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and thanks, Drew, for redrawing it. And now you can edit in place in Doc too.
Now, and one change I made to Anil's drawing was I just made the hardware error injection, hardware fault injection match Vilos's definition. So Anil, I added a layer. There's the logic that has faults, and if you flip a bit in that, like a memory array, that's fault injection. And then there's the logic that detects errors. And if you make it detect an error, that's error injection according to our definitions. So
okay, yeah, that's fair. I think that makes sense.
And then if you write error logging registers in hardware, that's spoofing. So and I liked your layers. So anyway.
Yeah, this is so great. This is very, very, very useful.
And I thought it was a useful drawing, and see it's editable. That's the only reason I really wanted to redraw it so badly, so we can tweak it if we need to. Okay, so that was the work I'd been doing, and then I did not get to the triggering and timeliness. I did this thinking about this, but I was thinking. Well, last week we got to production environment. We're running customer workloads. That was 2 weeks ago. But if you recall, we were reviewing this table, and what I was trying to do per the agreement 3 weeks back was describe the use case, give a description of it, and then talk about the most important characteristics of the use case. And then we have this column, where we're talking about KPIs or SLAs, and so it's kind of a work in progress, trying to figure out, what belongs in that requirement. We reviewed these for the most part, and I don't know. I need to think about how to incorporate. I'm not sure if these go in the table or if we. I think like error injection and implantation and trigger times. I think that we need definitions for implantation and trigger. Up in the key definitions. So, I think we add definitions and add related requirements to that.
Yeah, my thinking here is that we should really point to the EINJ UEFI spec as a template, because it is still, even though it was developed more than a decade ago, I guess, it still has a very comprehensive thought process of how to implement an error injection.
Let's see. I was going to see if it came out.
And I think it has a collateral also that describes each of those variables.
Okay, well, I'll look if you want to find a link to it, maybe that'll be good. But I like in fact, do you want to show us what you have in mind there? I mean, like what do we? If you show, can you show us what you're thinking? Because I don't disagree with you necessarily. I just don't quite understand. Are we going to reference part of the spec? Are we going to use the definitions consistently? What do you mean? Like,
yeah, I was thinking to refer, like put a link there. But if you want to go one more, double click there and put the actual section, then I will take a look at it and find out the right section. It's a 18.6, 18.6.1, which describes the the table, and then there is a description of each field. Trigger error is yeah, I think it describes pretty well. Just like a CPER document, right? Spec.
So maybe what we can do is, for this document to be complete, we can use their definitions, but then, like just quote their definition. We can quote their definition and say, we're basing our definition of implantation and triggering on the EINJ definitions.
Right. Now, I will definitely encourage others to take a look at it. And if you find something, because this was written a long time ago, right? Something is now missing or need to be appended, then in that case, we should still refer to that and then say, in this section, in the definition that we are defining, we are calling here is a slight variation from there, and this is it. Then we can write it here.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess if we're going to use their definitions, why don't we just quote them if they have them? Do they have them?
Yeah, I'm not looking at right now. I can post it here as a comment.
Okay.
For error injection configured, and then implant, and then trigger, right?
And I think I found that I found the doc, a link to the doc. So I'll paste the link to the doc for everyone. But yeah, if you want to paste what you're looking at, because I don't obviously see what you're looking at. But I think this is it, right? You're looking at an 18.6 error injection, right?
Yeah.
And you said 18.
Like Anil, like those are defined like few years back. There is no changes to adapt to the new devices, right? Accelerators and all. Is this expand using this spec?
No, this is the more like nomenclature and methodology. Right?
Okay.
Because the similar concept, in fact, pretty much every device injection, right, they are using a very similar concept. A way to discover what error types are available, way to implant, right? And if they're not using it, they should use it. Because this is like an industry, very mature methodology that still is so effective and useful. And people are building on top of that. Right?
Well, and like it talks about, sure. And I mean, I'm fine with leveraging it. I just want to get to the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Right. So if you scroll up, right, in the very big 16.1 itself, the first header has the definitions. Yeah. So this is the EINJ, the top level table, right? And if you scroll down a little more, then it describes different actions, right? So there's a trigger error.
Yeah, this is good when you go like a little bit down, okay? The device types they support, maybe we need to work with them to expand.
Yeah, no, that's not. So it has this OEM specific thing, right? I think let me see where there's OEM specific.
Well, I was just going to trigger error and trying to find a definition for trigger somewhere here. I mean, I think we may need to write a definition of trigger that just matches what ACPI intends, but I'm not seeing a clear definition for implantation or triggering. I mean, they talk about triggering, but they just don't quite define it. They assume you know what it is.
Yeah, it is there. Table trigger action. If you scroll down to 18.6.5, there's a trigger action table. So that's the whole table actually for action.
Well, this describes the process of triggering. It doesn't describe what triggering is, and that's fine. You know, we can certainly refer to this and be consistent with it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, other thing is we can also, in addition to that, we can point to the Linux, how Linux is implemented, or in Linux the implementation where we pass like there is a the error type, then parameter 1, parameter 2, and then no trigger, and then inject. Right, those variables, you pass those variables. So that's a pretty standard methodology. It has been there for such a long time and very effective.
I think that is like that's an abstraction for error injection, and it's fine.
Correct.
And it can be driven lots of different ways. Is that the only abstraction we would use? I don't know. Like, let's work through it a little bit more and think about that, because if we say, well, you could do an injection through a CPAD, I could imagine I have a script that I pass parameters to that maybe it looks like the EI and J and call in Linux. We could make it look similar. But you call some library that a vendor provides, and it needs to be vendor specific typically, I believe, because we want to generate microarchitectural errors, appropriate for that particular chip. And so we call their tool using an interface. Maybe it looks like EI and J. It generates a CPAD that we then send to a machine, and it injects the error. And that.
So do I get actually a thought on that? Because that's kind of, well, I shared a lengthy discussion with Carlos the other day. Is that what are we? And so if this is a slight tangent, right? But there's a lot of possible CPADs, right, that are probably actually not want to go all the way to, like, let's say the CPU or GPU, right? They're really, let's say you have a CPAD that says update firmware, right? I should probably invoke some service that then follows standard, standard methods of out-of-band firmware update, because why would we reinvent that wheel, right? So the question, and this feels a little bit like it's falling into this bucket, right, of things like, yeah, it's a CPAD, but if there's already an in-band mechanism to do this, would we then have a CPAD path that goes all the way back to the to the CPU, let's say, CPU or GPU, or would it really go to an agent in the middle that, in this case, would be invoking this Windows API?
So
see where I'm coming from?
I can answer that. I don't know about the in-band path. The in-band path, the IMA may have a role in that. We need to work on some details with Anil on the in-band path. On the out-of-band path, the BMC is Grand Central Station. It routes the traffic, but it doesn't understand it. And so the CPAD goes to the RAS API agent in the SOC, and it says, I'm doing an error injection. And then it does whatever it needs to inject that error. So no, they do go all the way, and they have to.
Yeah. So Drew,
So for error injection, that's most certainly true. But I'm thinking of, like, let's say a CPAD that says you should update the firmware, right? You would not send that all the way to the equipment.
Yes, you would. The BMC is not going to understand that CPAD. So if a company wants to be able to update their firmware, it would go to the RAS API agent and say, oh, I've got a chunk of firmware in the CPAD. I'm going to, put that wherever I need to put it.
Does that really make sense? I mean, because in my example, right, like firmware update, others, or probably really us and other work groups, have spent decades solving that. Why would we not invoke that mechanism?
It depends. So if you want to do that, you could, but that would be a different message, right? And and some CPU vendor, like some folks are considering using CPAD as a very convenient way of transmitting, at least bits that go to firmware, that affect it. So I just do what you want, but if you send a CPAD saying, update firmware, And the BMC is not going to look at that and go, I'm going to call this fancy flow. Because the Intel path might be different from the Ampere path. It might be different from the AMD path. It might be different from the NVIDIA path. And so the BMC is just pass-through. So if you go to the data center fleet operator and the fleet operator is expected to do the firmware update, that might be doable. But you're not going to make us really happy if we have to do something different for every vendor.
Well, you arguably wouldn't, right? Because the out-of-band firmware update is following standard MCTP, PDR, PLDM protocol and Redfish APIs. You already have probably infrastructure that does that every so often, right? And you would invoke that infrastructure that you already have. That's sort of my thinking.
Well, then we might be able to do that. I mean, like I'm not, I haven't, you may have to pull me through a little bit of a knothole there, and that's kind of a RAS API discussion, but it is conceivable that the key is that we don't want the BMC to have special code for acting on CPADs. But if you tell me there's a general way to invoke some firmware update action that's standardized across vendors, and the BMC could recognize that in a CPAD, then maybe that's different, and maybe that would be far more interesting to me.
Yeah, no, and I'm totally on board with there's no special vendor-specific source in the BMC. I'm really saying there's a number of CPADs like firmware updates, the one I'm picking on, that we already any reasonable BMC is already invoking methodologies to do that with Redfish interface.
Okay. So
my thing, anywhere where we can invoke that, this probably takes work of us as a we don't have to invent a CPAD based firmware update flow.
Well, it may be more convenient. If you have if the existing path doesn't work, the beauty of the CPAD path is that once it gets to your RAS API agent, it can be a proprietary, firmware update CPAD, and you have complete control over what happens. So you have to decide: do you want to does the firmware update you're doing fit into the general path in the BMC, or are you doing something highly customized for your architecture? And I don't really care. That's for you to figure out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that we would ever do that or should prevent that, but I'm saying we should have the invoke some standard mechanism as part of the
but let me pull you
expected behavior.
I agree that if there's a standard BMC way of doing things, it could invoke that. But hear me out, Marco. We want proprietary innovation in your silicon, and we want you to. So if you can do an on-the-fly thing that's magic and proprietary, and there is no BMC flow, you can send a CPAD to your RAS API agent. We're not trying to standardize the content of the CPAD sections. But we will standardize the names of some of the actions.
Yeah.
So just think about
it. I mean, and I think we want actually both, right? I think that I'm not saying CPAD should never go to the equipment. There's absolutely really good reasons to do that, and you just outlined them, right? I'm saying other actions that are moderately complicated and have already been solved. Maybe we can just invoke them instead of reinventing them. That's my
sure. I think
my version of the soapbox.
Yeah, it's a judgment call, but just make sure that you don't you don't say, well, the BMC can't do it, it's impossible. It may be that, well, the RAS API agent could do it because it's embedded and it knows more about the microarchitecture of the thing it's running in. So just have to, and it's your call. You've got to figure out which path you want to take.
Okay.
So Anil, you were going to say something about the in-band path. I neglected the in-band path, not because I don't care about it, but because I leave it to you. So, like the CPAD could go in-band, or you could call EI and J in-band. Either would work, right?
Yeah. So I am actually in the process of prototyping the CPAD concept for error injection in Ben. And I don't have any demo level work done yet, but it is working right now from a error injection point of view. So it'll take me maybe a week or so to be ready for actual demo. And I am leveraging on EINJ. I'm also leveraging the Linux interface, user interface, to pass those parameters. And then building on top of that a layer that'll ingest the CPAD, and then trigger or issue the Linux commands. That'll in turn will trigger the EINJ commands. So it's going to be a whole pipeline.
We may want to draw like I need a stack from you like this that shows how that would work in band, so we can see the flow. But what you're saying sounds, it makes sense. But we kind of need, we need help from that stack and see what you have in mind. But I think that sounds reasonable.
Right. I thought I did. Can you scroll down? Maybe I did not save it.
You said following us an illustration. You added this line, and I'm like, thank you. Could you please have the drawing?
Maybe I had it. I never saved it. Let me take a look at it. Or maybe I didn't finish it. Maybe that's what it is. Let me finish it and then upload it. Yep.
Okay. So
yeah. Anyway, what you just said to us is exactly what I had in mind, right?
Nice. And by the way, Marco and Drew, more I start looking into, I'm finding some challenges in using CPAD the way it's defined right now. But I'm not ready yet to share with you. Let me implement it, right? And
we could have a RAS API discussion. Yeah, and grab Carlos. Carlos and I have been doing all the out-of-band prototyping, so maybe we can compare notes and try to figure out, like, if we've solved the problem out of band, maybe we could share with you what we've done, or maybe you found something new that we need to add, and we'll work with you on it.
Yeah.
So Anil, that's great that you are prototyping the in-band side. So when it's ready, do you intend to also release that as open source thing like Drew is intending to do for the out-of-band version?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that because I'm pretty much leveraging everything open source anyway.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
First, I'm basically building. Maybe this is something, maybe one-liner. So when it comes to error injection, right, there are all kind of proprietary tools besides EINJ. EINJ probably is the only standard Linux methodology following the UEFI spec. Besides that, all error injections are all proprietary tools. And in a hyperscale environment, it becomes really, really challenging to use a CPAD methodology to invoke a vendor-specific tool unless we have that infrastructure in place. So that infrastructure actually is a unified error injection tool that I'm building, and I'll be willing to share in open source also. That'll basically, it's an abstraction layer. That'll determine what kind of host it is. Is it a vendor X, B, X, Y, Z, and based on the error type you want to inject, what are the available tools, and is that error injection even available or not? So it kind of abstract out all those details, nuances. And if the error injection,
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, if the error injection is available, then it will actually launch that tool, because a lot of these tools are actually have to be on the platform itself. So so from a hyperscaler somewhere, wherever the repository is, will launch that tool, and then execute it, collect the logs, and then generate whatever CPAD is generated from there. It'll be consumed, and then we'll take it from there. So that's a thought process I'm building, which is universal error injection.
Well, and if you look at what I just put in this picture, so like if you have EINJ, you could have an EINJ interface that called into vendor proprietary code that generated a CPAD, and that CPAD could contain EI and J parameters that go to the RAS API endpoint, or it could be a script that manipulates registers, or it could be something else. And so, like I think that's the power of CPADs, is that the body can be anything. And so I think you can do that with some of the ACPI methods as well. The EI and J V2 or something has much more flexible OEM methods. So I think we should be able to align those. But when you hear the word CPAD, you need to think infrastructure. There is an infrastructure required for them. But you know, that's not news, right? That's like what we've been doing in this is the infrastructure, this framework.
I mean, we have today a CPAD equivalent methodology implemented.
Yeah, so Anil, that's where I think we want to take the discussion to exactly. We do have our proprietary methods. We are in process of defining everything through CPAD, and of course we have standard body methods also. And I think whatever is imperative, whatever you do on the whatever is done on the in-band side, at the lowest level, at the primitive level, we don't want to create things which look drastically different from CPAD or outband side. Just because otherwise, at the lowest level, it will again create the same problem of implementing two different things, one for in-band, one for out-of-band. And so I think it's good that you're doing it, but I think it's also important that whatever differences you're finding in CPAD, those are resolved, right? Or CPAD itself is a very higher level wrapper, but the commands and primitives that are being defined for that purpose, those should align at the lowest level.
Yeah. So I'm kind of building like a prelude, like a pre-CPAD thing, in a way that once we have the platform that understands CPAD, can be easily migrated to.
Cool. Hey,
right?
This is
and the thing is, in our fleet, right, it'll take God knows how many years before every platform supports CPAD natively, right? So we anyway have to think through building an infrastructure infrastructure to give the commands to the machines, where we have a heterogeneous fleet. You know, some fleet is still a legacy. They still have to use our, our methods. At the same time, the new platform that we will introduce in the future that natively supports CPAD will still be able to.
So definitely, Anil, heterogeneity support is one of the important pillars. Another one is, also a wide, like the vendor level, piece of whatever firmware you're developing, right? So you don't want to have to create two different functions at the lowest level for the silicon vendors or hardware vendors. So that's where the alignment is also needed, right?
Yeah.
I think this is good discussion. We are 5 minutes over, so
Savita,
I think
Savita has some comment. Yeah.
Oh, Savita, please go ahead, and after that we'll close the meeting. I have to drive to set
Yeah, no, I think the direction we were going is same along with what I wanted to say. It's something for CPAD which is not there, versus what do people do when they have not implemented CPAD for both in-band and out-band, right? Putting that as a clarification in this document will be helpful, I think. If it's already documented in some other RAS API document or something like that, that's fine. But we ourselves are debating over this, right? I think it will cause confusion with all the Redfish, PLDM, the other method that folks have been using so far. Where does that stop and where does this start, right? Spelling that out, I think, will be helpful.
Yeah, that's a good point. As far as I know, out-of-band injection, I don't know if anything exists today. I may be wrong.
Well, I think the PLDM based or something.
PLDM exists, right?
Error injection type of capabilities.
At least in the GPU RAS spec, it's described a set of how to implement a set of PLDM objects and a secure unlock to do error injection.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is trying to answer Savita's question. Basically, what I'm understanding what she's saying is kind of describe what exists today and how the CPAD method will look different, or what the differences are going to be. Right? That's the CLIDI is what we need here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a good
And
check to have.
so the invent
yeah.
tools.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Sorry.
and my additional challenge to that, right, is, and does it have to be different, or can it just actually leverage what's there? Because that would be just easier.
Yeah, that would be my point,
I
right?
mean, like error injection is a model, is a simplest tool, but if I'm thinking of all the, like, picking a firmware update, right? There's a lot of work that went into that to get us to where we are.
Yeah, right. By the way,
right.
the intention is not to change what we have today, right? The intention is to standardize.
Well,
And in that process, if something has to be changed, sure, that we need to work on it. But not just change it because we're going to change it, right?
All right, and Marco, one thing I would urge you to consider is that we really want common pipelines. Today we have one of the purposes of there were also a whole bunch of Redfish error injection URIs for GPU error injection too, but we moved away from them because what we were doing was creating a whole bunch of additional point solutions. And really, we need a unified pipeline. And so if we can, but my concern with PLDM is if you add a whole bunch of new PLDM commands, it's now additional sprawl. Where if we say it's a CPAD, the BMC can send the CPAD through. It doesn't know what it's sending. It just says, I know who it goes to. And we can then extend the RAS API endpoints ad hoc, at will, to your heart's content. So let's just be a little bit careful about.
I think it's very valid point for out of band point of view, but in band, if we have to create CPAD just for that purpose, that's why I'm saying it has to align at a lower level than CPAD level, right?
Well,
no, even for in-band, right? That also is a problem because today, if I have a hard time, I'm not an expert in this, but I have a hard time when somebody says we have to create the method, right? Error injection has been there, right? Like from the host to the device, the error injection, that methodology should exist. It may be ad hoc, but there might already be some diagnostic tools that the OEM vendors would be using, right? It can't be very, very diverse is what I would think, right?
Sure.
So what is it that we can build on top of it, right? And in-band flow usually is different from, again, what I've seen from out-of-band. Reconciling that is one aspect of it, and then that we could do through CPAD. That's not a problem. But even my concern is what does that look like? And when we are proposing the CPAD, would they have to do a total different language translation, or hey, don't worry, whatever you have for this part falls under this bucket. This we have a box some kind of a placeholder. And what you used to do here will be automatically handled here, or this is a new thing that we need to develop, or nothing else because it's similar, but you just need to modularize it. Again, we just need to spell it out from what exists today.
So let's see what Anil has, because I think that may answer some questions on the in-band side. And another thing that we might find is that you can map the binary content of the body, because the body says all you're saying for the action is inject an error, and all the details are in the body. And so, we can probably if we create the right abstractions in ACPI, for instance, I think the EINJ2 can have proprietary error injections. So we just have a way to map them, and it's ACPI is just another protocol translation when it comes to injecting errors. But there's a consistent, simple way to do it. But I don't know if that's true or not. Let's see what Anil has and see if we can do that. But
I think one thing RAS folks need to do is to be mindful of the timelines, time to market and time to end the meeting also. 12 minutes over. I think we should
it's a good stop.
Yeah, sorry, I held you back. I was
Passionate
trying.
people.
Good.
No, I wanted to ask this question ahead of time, but I mean, I didn't want to interrupt anybody, so sorry.
No, that's fine. But in reality, discussions get really good here, but some folks may have hard stop points also. So just in general, we should be mindful of the time that we have set
But
for
I
the
love
meeting.
your question, Savitha. Keep it up. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think we need to have these kind of debates more, and that's why I think yeah, we should.
Yeah. We want to
continue
encourage what you and Mark are
Yep.
doing. Bring these things up. Let's work through them.
And Anil also.
Oh, well, absolutely. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Okay,
just one last quick one, right? It's really about the things that are established, not if you do everything useful CPAD, I'm all for it, just to be clear.
All right, we'll continue next week, Marco, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Talk to
More for
you
next week.
later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Sorry.
Bye. Thank you.
Hi, Dave. I still have a problem with access to this document.
Oh,
I'll take a look at it, Manju. Okay.
yeah, or you can send me an email address and I can